This is our garden, our family vegetable garden, and things are growing really well this year. And we have put a fence around our garden and added some soaker hoses, and we use compost and worm castings, and we use organic techniques. Down this side of the fence line we have some volunteer tomato plants that have come up, and they're cherry tomatoes. So we've left them in place. And then we have some squash plants, some red curry squash. And then we also have some watermelon plants that can go outside the fence. And we have a row of corn that's looking really good. It's over the top of my head right now. And this is Whiteout, a special hybrid that I got from Johnny Selected Seed. Along this fence line we have more tomato plants and soaker hoses. And this is a section of corn, and this is Silver Queen, really sweet for eating. And we have a Three Sisters mound over here that belongs to my child, who loves to grow the Three Sisters. But you can see our corn row here. We are using wheat straw to mulch between our beds, and I've also got pole beans going up the corn, so double duty here. This is our trellised area, and we grow our cucumbers on trellises. And this first row of cucumbers are a new variety to us. They're called Parisian pickling cucumbers, and we want to do some small pickles. So as you can see, we're already getting some nice looking small cucumbers here. Here's a nice size one. And we're also giving the leaves a spray of compost tea. So this is our first row of cucumber plants. We have lots of flowers. And these are the two trellises that we use right now. Here we've got some cucumbers that are Japanese long, and they actually come on twice as long as regular cucumbers. And the bees have been out pollinating the flowers, and they do really well. We use them for pickles and have been happy with them. And here's one right here, you can see. A nice little long cucumber. So they're pretty prolific and do a good job for us. And then here we've got our tomato plants. We've got 32 of them all strung up, tied up on a wire with string to keep them off the ground. And we have a soaker hose going down below them. And this is where we spray them with compost tea to keep the blight away. Along the fence line we also have tomato plants with soaker hose and mulch. And then here we've got a nice giant cabbage. Caterpillars are coming. We also have green beans, dragonflies, tomato plants, sweet potatoes, potatoes. We do have stone between some of our paths, and we're still working on that. We use them for weed suppression. And we've got pumpkin and squash. And then here, this is a bed of Asian greens. This is cat soy, which we use for fresh greens. And then we have sweet peppers also in here. I plant in 4x4 foot sections, and so I can get 16 pepper plants in a 4x4 foot section. Along the edge of the beds, I'm planting herbs. And this is some parsley that's coming up. And then in this one we've got some dill. And this is the dill when it's grown bigger. And here we've got more Asian greens and Swiss chard. And we have our wheat straw that we're using to mulch. Here's another one of our paths. And it's got a side dressing of Asian greens and then Swiss chard and parsley coming up. And then we have in this bed, we've got green beans. This is how we have our soaker hoses hooked up. with a split faucet. And at the head of each row of bed we have a faucet. But we have peanuts in the middle, and then we've got more green beans and a volunteer cucumber plant. This is my seedling nursery in this bed, and this is where I start my transplants. We've got worm compost in there, and compost and a soaker hose, and I can grow really good transplants here. We also have hoops up for row cover and shade cloth if we need it. When it's cold out and I'm starting transplants, I will cover it with plastic and make it into a mini greenhouse. And then we do use a PVC pipe to go across to our beds because we had a lot of water we were losing. And then here we have another bed of green beans and peanuts. And this bed, I took the peanuts out of the shell, and they're coming out just great. They're looking nice. And then here we've got green beans that were pretty dry yesterday, so I soaked them good with a hose. And this bed has green beans in the center, and there are lots of purple flowers. And then here we've got sweet peppers in this section, and then here another section of green beans. And this is another bed with green beans. They're all staggered planting. And then more peanuts that are popping up. And then we have more green beans in the back of the bed here. So this is the last crop. And then we've got dill popping up here on the side of this bed as a side dressing. So we'll have lots to make the garlic dill pickles that we love so much. And this is a section of cabbage plants and some radish that has gone to seed. And then we've got here some lettuce that's going to seed. I'm going to save that. It's bronze arrow, and we love that seed, but we love that lettuce. And here we have more stone paths, of course. These are our sweet potato beds, and this is the first one that I planted, and so it's full of sweet potato plants. And we grew all these slips ourselves, and from the sweet potatoes we had last year, we put them in a bucket of an empty bucket of plastic ice cream pail, and let them make sprouts. And then we've rooted them and put them in this bed and covered them with wheat straw. So this is our first bed here, and we've been getting 60 pounds of sweet potatoes per bed, and the leaves are also edible. This is our second bed of sweet potatoes, and I started down here on this end, on this 4 foot by 4 foot section, and as the vines grow longer, we have rooted them and started them in the other 4 by 4 foot sections. So this is the new, more recently planted section, and this is the more established section from cuttings. And then this is our last sweet potato bed here, and we've started in the middle section and done that 4 by 4 foot section first. And we have yet to fill in this end of the bed and then this end of the bed. So we should get about 200 pounds from these 3 sweet potato beds. And then we do have a strawberry bed that is pretty messy. It needs weeding, and some of the plants have come outside the bed, and it's time to put them back in. So this is our garden, and we've grown lots of food in it for our family, and we're happy to share it with you and hope that you have a wonderful harvest this year, a bountiful harvest. And we enjoy our garden and spend a good amount of time out here working on it and helping everything to grow. So may your garden produce lots of good food for you and be bountiful.